Why are some of the women on the panel wearing head coverings and others not? Before we go to our panelists, a little background may be helpful. Muslims believe our holy book, the Quran, is a guidance for all humanity. On the subject of modesty, the Quran, as translated by Yahya Emrek, says in chapter 24, verses 30 and 31, "Tell the believing men that they should lower their gaze and not stare lustfully at women, and they should guard their sexuality. Likewise, tell the believing women that they should lower their gaze and not stare lustfully at men, that they should guard their sexuality. They should also draw their headscarves over their bosoms and not let their curves be seen except by their husbands, their fathers, their sons, etc." Also, chapter 33, verse 59 says, "O Prophet, tell your wives and daughters and the believing women that they should draw their outer garments closely over their bodies when they go out in public. That's the easiest way for them to be known as respectable, so they won't be accosted by strange men." This is the guidance Allah, the Arabic word for God, has given us. Different women and cultures understand the verses in a variety of ways. To many, the head covering, or hijab, symbolizes that a woman's worth should not be determined by her physical attributes or her sexuality, but by her character and her piety. The Quran also says in chapter 2, verse 256, "There is no permission to force anyone into following this way of life." The woman who chooses to wear hijab is doing so out of a desire to please God, not just to please her family or society. Her understanding of the verses and her decision to wear hijab is between her and God alone.
So the question of the headscarf or hijab is definitely something that I think about all the time. I love and admire and respect my fellow Muslim women who choose to wear the headscarf. I think first and foremost, one of the big misconceptions is that a lot of times people think that it's forced upon you. And all over the world, and certainly in the United States, women are choosing to wear the headscarf. But I personally read and understand my religion to place more of an emphasis on the value of modesty, which I believe is what the headscarf is trying to accomplish. And that's modesty not just in the way that I dress, but in the way that I carry myself in society and my interactions with men and women, and in the way that I just make my mark in the world.
I wear a scarf because it is very important to me. The scarf has actually become part of who I am. I strongly believe that the more I obey God, the more I am submissive to God, the closer I am to Him. I also believe very strongly that the scarf does not make me a better Muslim than anyone else. I think that it is really what's in your heart and your intentions that matter.
I believe that the hijab represents one aspect of modesty, and I believe that Islam espouses modesty for all, both men and women. For me personally, I feel that modesty can be attained through other forms other than the hijab, through behavior, attitudes, values, and intent.
Hijab is a way of life. It's a Muslim identity, and it is a code of standards. To me, I feel as a complete person because my hijab reflects my inside. We Muslims are very modest in our way of life and also in the relationship between men and women. That's why hijab is emphasized. But don't let that fool you. It doesn't go to say that women that don't wear hijab are less of Muslims. I'm not going to judge them. God judges us all. He is the judge. My daughters, 4 of them, 2 decided to wear hijab and 2 decided not to, and that splits the family 50-50. That doesn't make one better than the other. They're all good Muslim women.